Welcome to another edition of the Kendrick Loves to Brand podcast. And this is the first time we're doing it over Zoom. I'm here with my big brother, somebody who I call Big Bro, Rommel, one of of the first returning guests of the podcast. Kamusta, Rommel? How are you?
Fine. We're doing. I would say we're doing better now. So mas optimistic, mas empowered, and I think that can be something that I could share today. So thanks for inviting me.
Nice, of course. I remember when this whole thing first exploded no, in March. One of the things that I really appreciated was getting a call from you. Just checking up on me. Diba? That's why I call you Big Bro. Kasi uh, yung time na yun, parang everything was just hitting us at from all angles, and I think it was great hearing from you, hearing from your experience, and parang it just gave me konting peace of mind if that's possible during this time. Siguro let's start at the beginning. No, when this whole thing happened, what can you take us through what you were going through with Buffalo Wings and things? When the whole quarantine was first announced.
Well, the first thing we did was to assess to understand and understand what's really happening. Because there's a lot of information. No? Of course, there was overwhelming information on social media, and even when you do research. Of course, the good thing about it is that it's with the internet, it's global. So you see what's happened in China. You see what's happening at that time. It was the big deal was Italy. So
Italy,
meron kang you have a preview of what can happen and what to prepare for. But nonetheless, you also what we did was to rin talaga do a lot of social listening, do a lot of observation, and I started reaching out to people in the industry. People in the industry and also business people. So I have basketball friends who are from the banks. So that group on Viber is also useful for me because there's a lot of information on the financial side from when you have a group with bank people and business people also. So a lot of data gathering, information gathering.
this was
Kasi as a leader ng
when the
company,
quarantine was already announced or before pa.
this was yung the week prior, yung parang you can sense that
Mm.
that it's going to hit, it is going to hit the country. Siguro 2-3 days prior, we had a meeting already and saying na it's a probability, and may mga nagli-leak na rin na mga information that there might be ang tawag pa ng lockdown talaga.
Yeah.
So it happened nga, no? So we just of course as leaders of the company, we had to number one know what's happening, and then of course communicate to our people a clear picture of what's happening. So yun yung unang stage.
How tough was that? Kasi nung time na yun, parang to be honest, even kami, for the restaurant, for Early Bird, we had to tell our staff immediately na, actually even before the quarantine was announced, we were already telling our staff na, if you're not comfortable coming in, okay lang. Parang just let us know. We can, parang we'd rather close down the branch, even before the quarantine. And at that time, what we prioritized lang was any perishable, uwi na nila lahat kaysa maiwan sa branch, masira. And syempre, if there's any cash in the branch, ma-deposit. But how did you, or where did you take the insight in terms of like communicating to the staff na this is what's going to be happening, ito yung what you can expect? Like where did you get that? Kasi kami coming from, I guess, mas limited pa yung experience namin din. Like we didn't really know what to expect, so we don't really know what to tell them except yung ganong immediate lang na just bring whatever perishables and then stay home na rin. Pero like in terms of telling them this is how the business is gonna, this is how this will affect the business or anything, parang we didn't really know what was happening. But in your case, like what were the things that you were telling your staff?
Well, sa amin kasi, given that we're older, we experience, hindi ganito kalaki, no? But, way back early 2000, nandyan yung SARS, no? So, at that time kasi, I was still an employee for bistro, and one of the brands is Outback, where I work. And we had restaurants in Hong Kong also. Bistro had restaurants in Hong Kong. That's
Okay.
badly hit by they used to own they used to own Outback in the franchise of Outback in Hong Kong. So imagine yung information that we were getting and the insights and the experiences of our colleagues in Hong Kong. So meron akong pinaghugutan na gano'n. And also, Asian crisis, mad cow disease, yan, tinamaan na kami ng dati nung sa Outback niyan. Ano? We even had to change the name of the restaurant to Outback Restaurant from Outback Steakhouse for a time. No? So, yung mga gano'n, no, nakakatulong yun definitely. But this one was really, different. But again, as I pointed out, ang presence of mind lang is coming from the fact that there are a lot of sources of information now. No, yung kailangan mo lang talagang mag-research. So, yun yung importante. And you recognize there are two aspects, no, expected of you. Number one is the leadership aspect. Doon pasok yung yung keeping calm, giving out clear direction, making sure that communication is very clear and very transparent. And then, of course, the management aspect of it. Doon sinasabi mo kanina, no, what you were telling us about inventory management, making sure that there's no spoilage, there's no wastage. So, dalawang importanteng aspect that you have to discern, and to understand the difference between the two. May mga leadership actions ka, may mga management actions ka. So, I think that helped also. And tama ka, the experience helps. That's why it's very important for, tayong dalawa, we're talking to each other. When I reach out to you, no, not only to, of course, number one, to check on you, and knowing that we have talked previously, and it came to my mind na, ito si Kendrick, I had to check on him, see what's happening, and maybe offer some advice. And I did the same thing for several other people that reach out. Some are even bigger than our restaurant group, and the questions I make it a point to answer. And importante kasi the important thing is for us to reach out to each other and collaborate. At this point in time, yung hyper competition na nangyayari prior to COVID is tapon mo na. Throw it out because it's not gonna help. So start reaching out, because for all you know, people are just waiting for you to reach out. And true enough, no? And then don't be shy. Don't assume that maybe they won't appreciate this information. Just put it out there. No, and that's the same thing we did internally. We talk to people one-on-one. You have to understand, no, ang number one concern din, tama yung sinabi mo kanina, physical, safety and health. No? Sino yung tinamaan? So we had an illness tracker right away. And we answered questions about, do we need to wear mask? Kasi nung tama ka, 1 week prior, hindi pa nagsasara, it was not closed yet. A lot of employees were already hesitating to work, not wanting to go to work without a mask. So you have to answer that question and provide information. So that's what we did, no? And second aspect is the mental health. Yung mental state ng tao. And as expected, sa unang week, not everyone realizes yet kung what's happening eh. So everyone was parang okay pa sila. Of course, may sweldohin pa sila. They're going to receive their salaries. Yun ang mga unang concerns nila eh.
Correct.
But, and then you lay out, I think one of the good things that we did that we would like to siguro share to others for future, wag naman mangyari, but for future events na importante is to put out an official statement detailing the primary concerns of people. So what we did was we asked our area business leaders, ano mga tinatanong ng tao, ano mga concerns nila, and then in a one pager, lahat nandoon yung mga, and then in the end you say, do not hesitate to call us, and then you give out the numbers of people, contact people who they can call to reach out. Kasi iba yun eh, because what you don't want happening is, for them to have their own source of information. No, kailangan mabigyan mo sila ng
fake
information
news pa
about
naman
the company.
Correct.
And it's even true for your own organization.
Correct.
Kasi if you don't provide information, sila mag-uusap eh. They will talk amongst themselves and they will start speculating, no? They will start speculating, naku, baka magsara tayo, no? Maybe we will not be opening again, mga ganun. So you have to provide clear communication about what's going on with the company.
So currently, all your branches are still non-operational, or have you started opening for deliveries?
Yeah, I mean, sabi ko nga sa'yo, nung nagkwento tayo, at that stage, we were planning to reopen. if I may tell parang a story, no, and you know me, spiritual ako, but it's not so religious, but spiritual din, no. So you know, one midnight, no, and this is an amazing story. One midnight, I received a call from a friend. No, he's not from the restaurant industry. No, and at that time, hindi pa buo yung isip ko to, you know, whether to open or not. Kasi, syempre, you have to think of, ano rin, bro, you have to think of safety, di ba? With all the quarantine and, of course, how to convince your employees to work, etc. No? And if you convince them, the families naman, sasabihin ng pamilya na, okay ka, pero kami, naisip mo ba? So, those things that you have to think of. So, parang, you know, it's very easy to fall into the complacency na, a state of complacency na, sige na, saka na lang mag-open. But, you know, this phone call came from somebody outside of the restaurant industry. And, you know, the first thing he said, alam mo, bro, swerte kayo, no? You're part of the essential services. So, it dawned on me, no? Parang, nga, no? Parang, why, you know, we are part of the essential services. So, in a way, we have an obligation to open. No, you know, looking at that, you know, from that perspective, whatever it takes, we need to, because some you know, other people are making bigger sacrifices, eh. So, ano ba naman yung we try to open. So, that's when we started opening yung Brixton and we tested. So, as you know, marami kaming franchise stores, eh, no? Yeah. So, the principle, the value then that we imputed was, of course, we need to test first before we ask our franchisees to open. Kami muna. So, we tested Brixton. Now, we tested, because at that time, ito, bro, big challenge at that time. No? Ang bilis nga na mapangyari. At that time, although open ang Grab Food and Food Panda, konti ang riders.
Yes.
So, there was a lack of riders, no? So, the more restaurants open, there will be a shortage of riders. So, what we did was to, find other ways where we can interact with our customers and get orders. So we started doing advance orders, which is mutually beneficial, by the way. No, we're both the operator and the customer because planning is key. Essential ngayon yan. Even people who work from home. Like ako, I'm sure baka natotoka ka rin for cooking at home. So you have to plan. You have meetings and you have to schedule it. Teka muna, 11:30 na may magluluto pa ako. So something like that. So we did advanced ordering through Google Forms. We did, a lot of people. We tried, opening up mobile lines, cellular phones for ordering. But it turns out a lot of people don't really want to interact sa phone. So Messenger, marami, and then Viber, marami din. No? So in mga conversational commerce platforms became So I think that also helped jumpstart innovation until such time na medyo umokay na yung and Grab Food and Food Panda became more, parang a lot of riders were added to the lineup and the roster. So medyo mas nag-balance off ngayon. Parang na kami 60% Food Panda, Grab Food, and then 25% Google Forms, advance order, and then another so and so percent na take out and pick up. So, naging mas diverse yung profile. Kasi zero dine-in eh. Zero dine-in. So now, to your question, we have 9 stores open already.
Nice. You have one in QC open?
Banawe is open. But lang sila muna ngayon, Lala Food and then advanced ordering. And then for Grab and Food Panda, it's North EDSA. North EDSA, we're trying to open M-Place soon.
Okay.
Ang schedule kasi namin, every Thursday we open the stores.
Okay.
Para there's 1 week of preparation also.
Okay. So the moment M-Place
may sistema.
Yun yung the M-Place yung closest sa akin eh. So you can expect.
Yeah, we'll try to open that. The challenge for M-Place is of course QC is very strict when it comes to several barangays are actually locked down talaga. So yun yung challenge na for employees. So what we're doing naman sa best practice that I can share also is we're using our company-owned employees and then binibill na lang yung labor.
Okay.
Kasi parang some people would work for company-owned stores but it turns out they live closer to a franchise store. Parang ganun.
Tama.
So we're utilizing yung we're utilizing yung knowledge namin of where our people live and where they stay and all of those things, information, so to make the most out of the situation.
Correct. That's good to hear.
Sorry, I had to turn on the lights.
Yeah. So aside from that, like what do you think will be the biggest changes in the industry? You mentioned a few things, no? Yung ordering online. I think mostly delivery. I think the delivery market will still be a strong channel for food, no? Even after this is all over. So aside from that, or if you wanna talk more about that, like what do you see as the biggest changes in the industry?
Well, I prepared kanina I was a panelist sa isang talk about the aggregators because and the alternatives to aggregators. So it was a tech company who invited me and I spoke about, and I will share it with you para you can also post on your page. It's a simple, it's not really no. Of course, everyone's entitled to their own analysis and insights, but I think for me yung one thing that we gain from all this reopening of stores is aside from of course generating revenue again and being able to support our employees and their livelihoods, no, to jumpstart it again, is yung data that you gain, your information, the product mix, what are people ordering, how many are ordering through, from which area. Maraming data kami na-gather. And the table shows, no, during the ECQ, after the ECQ, which is the GCQ, and then I divided it into 4 phases. And then after the quarantine, so wala nang quarantine but there's no vaccine yet. So nilagay ko dun yung iba't ibang aspects or dimensions ng consumer behavior and also market dynamics, such as, for example, what will happen to delivery during the ECQ, during the GCQ, during the wala nang quarantine but there's no vaccine yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I indicated it there, no. So to your question, no, aside from delivery, I think what will happen also is on the landlord side, marami rin yung implication, no? Specifically sa mga malls. Because people will now hesitate to open big format stores, no? Ang daming prohibitions. Kasi, while for now, ang renta is, I think, percentage of sales lang, which is, very commendable sa mga landlords sa malls. No? Yung mga nasa freestanding, nag-hesitate pa magbigay ng rental, discounts and reprieve. But yung mga malls, the big ones, they're talaga consistently, ECQ, walang rent, and then if you open again, percentage ka lang. No? So that's very good. Yeah. Because that's easily about 10% of your rent plus yung basic, wala na. No? So that's a big thing. No? So to your question, balikan natin, I think those are the dynamics that will really impact the industry. Yung landlord, no, what will happen to the rental structure and business development per se, no? Ako personally, I would look into new models, micro stores, cloud kitchen. Yung cloud kitchen kasi even prior to COVID, nangyayari na yan, no? Yung mga you don't have a brick and mortar dining store, it's only delivery and carry out. Or alam mo, matagal na yung cloud kitchen sa Pilipinas, ang tawag ng mga pizza companies dyan, Delco. Delivery and carry out. No? So yung Delco, yan ang madaming mangyayari because it's lower risk, lower capex, diba? Easier to ROI, and then of course it will attract investments. Ang kasi ngayon nangyari, yung risk hindi na anticipate. So on the restaurant side naman, of course, low touch, no? Low touch to no touch. People, you will see, that's why I was already communicating and working with tech companies because I see the future as QR code na lang ordering, because nobody would want to touch a menu.
Yeah.
Diba? Even after COVID yan, even magka-vaccine pa yan, people will be hesitant na rin. A lot of attention will be put on safety, sanitation, and hygiene. Correct. So yun, low touch to no touch transaction.
Speaking
and yung cash, napakalaki.
Yes, sorry.
Yung mga wala ng menu, no? It's
yung contactless. Kasi diba I think si McDonald's was already pioneering that, yung touchscreen. So parang kung kailan magsa-start pa lang yung touchscreen migration nila.
Yes.
Ngayon, parang hindi na pwede.
Wala yan, bro. I mean,
unless you're ordering with your elbow.
Would you touch it? Totoo, no? Totoo. That's why I believe ako dun sa technology company na kausap ko kanina. Na ang bilis nila nag-pivot. Sabi nila, no need to buy hardware. So, before that, they were promoting tablets and kiosk. Yeah. Ordering kiosk. Yan, bigla silang kumambyo. No. It's a web-based solution, QR code. That's what I saw in Malaysia na talagang promising. QR code talaga. Because people would like to confine their touches dun sa phone nila. something that's private. Of course, yung impact ng sa industry ng no, ng wearing of mask, and social distancing or physical distancing, as I would prefer to call it, kasi it's physical distancing naman siya talaga because people are still socially connected on So those are the big trends that we see happening.
And
it will of course slow down, no?
Before I cut you off kanina, sorry, you also mentioned cashless, no? I think that's also going to be a big trend. What do you see as the option na? Kasi like ngayon, when you order through Grab, you can pay through Grab, pero like sa inyo ba sa deliveries nyo right now, mostly cashless, or are people still expecting to pay COD?
Well, yun yung napakaganda ng tanong mo, because even now during the ECQ and prior to COVID, ang laki ng difference. Tumaas talaga ang ayaw na magbayad ng cash. Number one, they talaga natatakot to touch money, di ba? Yung sukle, etc., the hassle of touching money, etc. So a lot of enrollments on online transactions. Even people are willing, sabi ko nga, people are willing to do advanced ordering and pay ahead of time through bank transfers, no? So data from the banks will show. I think it's almost 60% jump in online transaction enrollments, no, during the ECQ. And I see it continue to happen. Like you have Paymaya who will benefit a lot from this. You have GCash, you have all these payment platforms. Even yung mga di ba, WeChat for the foreigners, no. So talaga, I think the transition to cashless will be expedited. And I think it's good. Overall, it's good. No? It's good. I mean, kasi people tend to spend more and they tend to be more parang not really conscious about spending pag hindi cash. So, okay din yan.
Okay. What would you advise to fellow entrepreneurs, especially, or let's not limit it to just food business, pero like, what would you tell an entrepreneur in terms of how to navigate this situation and beyond?
Well, siguro I'll take from para consistent siya, and I talk doon naman based on experience na rin. No? It's better kasi to share something that's already based on what we did already for Buffalo Swings and things. No? I'm not saying it's it's perfectly successful, but it's already attested. No? At least meron na siyang basis. So number one is to accept, understand, and appreciate the new normal. No? There's a lot of confusion about the new normal, no? Some people talk about it as if it's an event that's going to happen a year from now. No, the new normal is here. Whatever happens, and I'm telling you, amazing how the past few weeks, especially these last 3 weeks, previous week was different from this week. The previous week was so different from this week, no?
Yes.
So ang bilis ng pangyayari. So you have to be which points me out to the next tip. No, is to adapt with agility. Now is not the time to pause. I'm telling you, no. It's either you make a decision, you meet again. Do not take the responsibility of decision making sa sarili mo lang. Share it with the other people with who are expected to contribute in your organization. Involve your department heads if you have that. Involve your partners, business partners, and throw ego out of the door. No, because it's everyone's future at stake right now. So the worst thing that you could do right now is to clam up and you start deciding unilaterally, and without any basis. As I've told you before, it's when you make decisions, it's information plus experience that will lead you to insights. The insights will be the basis of your decisions. Hindi pa pwedeng ngayon yung hindi ka numbers guy. Hindi rin pa pwede yung puro ka lang numbers, wala kang If you lack the experience, if you lack the experience, ask around. No? Ask people. There's no mystery anymore. Ask an older guy. No? If you want to know about restaurants, ask restaurant people who have more branches than you, or who have gone through crisis that are hindi mo pa napagdaanan. So there's a way, no? So number 2 is adapt with agility. And then last 3, you replicate what you have adapted, and if it works, you replicate that, you expand, and then you sustain. So yun, 3 easy tips lang yun. Number 1 is to understand, appreciate, no, and actually, dapat natin idagdag yung accept. Understand, accept, and appreciate the new normal. Appreciating the new normal meaning you don't look, di ba, at first matatakot ka eh. You only think of the challenges, tama, yung parang ang daming namamatay, binibilang mo na, sumasabay ka sa bilangan nung na-infect, etc., etc. But you get to a point where when you appreciate the opportunity, okay, there's opportunity here. No, people have changed behaviors. A lot of people are working from home. So what can I always use the 3 circles approach. No, what your company can serve or can offer, what the customers need, and then what the competition is not yet offering.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Lalo ngayon, marami nagpahinga eh. So pag nakuha mo yung sweet spot doon na what you can offer and the customers need and the competition cannot offer yet, then there you go. Diba? Yun yung opportunity mo ngayon. And you must be willing to take on the next step, which is, again, adapting with agility. Adapting with agility, ang ano lang, if I may point out, the key points there is to keep it simple. Your menu cannot be as ano ngayon, diverse and hindi pwedeng yan ng malaking menu. Simplify execution. No, think of quality and how you can deliver quality the easiest and simplest way. Because the third step, magre-replicate ka eh. Hindi lahat ng tao mo ang skill set nandirito. So you have to make sure, like in our case, you have to think of the franchise people na, we have to train them, do online training for them. That's, what we do, do online training for them, give them training materials, and then follow through. Kasi execution is key. Bawal lang wastage ngayon, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wastage not just in terms of spoiled food, but also customer tried your brand already and then sumablay ka pa. Diba? Yeah. Ang hirap makipaglaban for customers now because, suddenly, nabuhay ulit ang supermarket. Suddenly, nabuhay ulit ang groceries, diba? So, I think those are the 3 steps.
Okay. I think the main challenge there, from at least from people that I've been talking to, I think the acceptance is yung understanding and acceptance is the main challenge for a lot of people. Especially, I think, nung first few weeks. I think siguro ngayon mas it's a lot better. But nung first few weeks, I think people were sort of thinking na, after 30 days, we'll all go back to normal. Then I think now, like you mentioned, parang understanding and accepting, I think people are starting to really understand the gravity of the situation. Na yung new normal is really gonna be, like you said, it's here. So it's not something na the moment they announce the lifting of the quarantine, we'll go back to how things were. Diba? Parang wala na yun.
Yeah.
That's gone. So I think a lot of people were struggling with that. I mean, even ako personally, parang no first few weeks, parang you're trying to understand and trying to read, about the virus and how it's going to affect things, how the economy is gonna contract and all that stuff. So parang, and you're trying to figure out, parang, will things go back to normal? Is it just a matter of time before things go back to normal, or parang what we're all realizing, I think now is wala na yung dati. It's really, there's a new world that we're going to be, living in, basically. So, like you said, it's really time to adapt. And I like what you said, adapt with agility, kasi you really can't be slow in adapting, especially now. Parang there's really no time to waste, no resources to waste. Diba?
Agree. No, and to your point, I would like to add to that. It's also yung dun sa subsumed by the first step of accepting, understanding, and appreciating the new normal. It's who you talk to. It's as simple as that. Choose the people you talk to. Choose the information you read. You manage what goes into your head because it will affect your heart and your hands. Yung Triple H principle yan, diba? So ito yung gate eh. So whatever you let into your mind, ano yan eh. So be careful who you talk to. Sometimes you have to leave Viber groups that are negative.
Yep.
Totoo yun, no? You have to unfollow people. Do that. No? Importante that for now, you have to remove the clutter and focus on what really matters and who really matters. No? Hello.
Say hi to
Mag-podcast na rin yan in the future. Hello.
Say hi to Uncle Rommel.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, here you go. Lahat ng Telegram ko sumisingit eh. So that was my son. For those of you,
yeah, for those of you who are listening
over the podcast.
Siguro ito rin, no? I think if you notice, no, the few times that we've talked, medyo mahaba yung kwentuhan natin. This helps, no? I put a structure to my way of thinking. Kasi I always write down things that I think of para magkaroon. Hindi kasi ko organize mag-isip. So, ino-organize ko siya. So, I illustrate, I draw, no? Mas visual kasi kung mag-intindi ng mga bagay-bagay. So, even sa sarili ko, no, may pagka-weird, pero the way I understand myself is, I understand myself better pagka sinusulat ko, dinodrawing ko. So, one thing that might help is, from a state of helplessness, and I drew it earlier today, no? During a meeting. Sabi ko, from a state of helplessness, if I'm going to summarize the evolution of my thinking during the ECQ and now hopefully heading towards an earlier GCQ na. So, helplessness. Okay lang yun. Kasi wala ka naman talagang controls talaga eh. Di ba? Nung una, ang feeling natin, we're victims. So, this is something that's, that's why a lot of conspiracy theories came up because we're trying to make sense of it all, di ba? So from helplessness, ang naging first step ko, what do I need to do for my people? That's why the first feature I did for Resto Coach was productivity. Kasi when you start getting people productive again, that's when they will realize, okay, this is something that I cannot control, but there are still things that I can control. Diba? My own productivity. So yun, nilagyan ko sila ng productivity and we had the Project Easter ang tawag namin. Because we wanted to open a store before mag-Easter, no? And again, it's a resurrection din, no? So parang thematic siya, no? So that captured the imagination of the people and, gave them pride again, no? That, and then you'll be surprised, after nung productivity, what comes after? Empowerment. So yun, talagang ka na, bro, talagang sobrang liberated ka na from the feeling of helplessness. And you're empowered, no? Kaya ko palang baguhin. I can, even modify my own company. I can even change the name, offer new products. You can. Because ang maganda ngayon, walang rules.
Yep.
Di ba? You're free to do anything, the old menu, throw it out, di ba? I mean, whatever is of value, yun lang naman iiwanan mo. So again, from helplessness to empowerment. And then what comes after empowerment, you realize leadership. Because pag empowered ka na, you can empower others already. No? So, yun yung stages na pinagdaanan namin. Yun yung leadership aspect that I'm sharing with everyone. No? Not only within Buffaloes, but also with Resto Coach, with my partners in Resto Coach. And of course, we try to do our best, our little bit in terms of publishing all of these things to share with others. No?
Okay. Let's go on a lighter note. What have you been doing aside from sharing your knowledge to online? Like, what have you been cooking at home?
Yun ang mas challenging. Actually, yun ang mas challenging because you have to think of your companions also in the house. Not just for yourself, and also healthy dapat because walang exercise gaano ngayon eh. So we live in a condo and all the amenities have been shut down, which tama naman yun. So you have to do your own exercising inside the house, walking and cooking is a challenge, but it's also good. It gives you a sense of purpose every day also.
But you really cook, right?
I wouldn't call myself an expert. No? May alam lang, no. Compared to my mom and my brothers, nako, I'm the least, no. I'm the least talented pagdating sa luto. It's just so happened that I work in restaurants who did scratch recipes. Actually, sa Outback ako nahasa eh. Kasi scratch recipe lahat ton, from the soup to prep items, marunong ako eh. But it's not the Pinoy cooking adobo or sinigang na alam ko. It's more of yung mga natutunan ko sa casual dining.
What's the first dish that you're gonna eat out? That you're gonna eat after this? Like when we're allowed to go out and dine in. Like what are you craving for?
Ako I'm craving for actually other restaurants sa paborito ko rin. Ipopromote ko na sila kasi paborito ko naman sila, nasa record na. Yung mga unahin ko dyan, yung tuan-tuan. Ko yan. And I'm also going to go to El Pollo Loco.
Oh, I have been craving for Mexican food.
Kasi ang advantage lang pare, in terms of buffaloes, I still eat buffaloes food kasi we do R&D eh. So it gets sent to my home or sometimes. Kanina galing ako sa tindahan because we tested a an old Chubby's item that we're going to launch for Buffalo's. That's good for delivery, the Southern Fried Chicken. So, babalik namin. So, we tested it earlier. So, Buffalo's, hindi ako nagkikrave kasi meron pa rin kami supply. So, yun yung mga iba na hinahanap-hanap ko ngayon. Oriental Pearl. I don't know if you know that restaurant in Pasig.
No, hindi masyado.
Oriental Pearl. So, yan, pag taga-Pasig ka kasi, Mandaluyong, yan, kilala. Sila yung matagal na rito, heritage brand yan. So, sarado sila ngayon. So, mostly Chinese, Chinese food.
Okay. During this time, what have you learned about yourself that you didn't previously know?
Well, like any other challenge that I've gone through my life, ano talaga, it's about yung yung condition ng isip mo. It's how you mental toughness. Siguro that's the phrase that I was looking for. And connected to that is your faith. Yun yung importante, all of these things happening will make you question a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not anchored on your principles, values, okay yun. And purpose, sabi ko nga, di ba? You know me as somebody will always say, especially during crisis, let your purpose drive you and your values guide you. No? So, applicable ngayon yun. So, yun yung matututunan mo sa sarili mo. No? Yung how to manage, especially during times na negative things come to your to your mind. Of course, when you read social media, dami kasing that's why I don't read comments already. Ayoko na. No? I just watch videos that are funny if I want to just take off my mind sa work. But a lot of reading again, that a lot of things that I have not really paid attention to. I always tell our people that together and with God's grace, we will emerge from this temporary crisis with a better understanding and appreciation of what really matters in life. I think yun yung natututunan ko ngayon. Ano lang yung mahalaga? And believe me, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Only a few things matter in life, really. And all the other things are maybe important to get to the important things. Diba? Hindi sila mismo yung importante. Like, how I view work. Because prior to this, we were so busy. No? And then, of course, you realize, aside from, of course, the basics, yung God, family, may hierarchy yan. You also learn that there are two really important things in life. Time, and then options. Right now, our options are limited. Doon ako na-realize na, hindi lahat ng options available every time. So you have to value it and, you have to make the most of it pag meron kang freedom to do it. So, I think yun yung mga nuggets of wisdom that I can share on that question.
Nice. That's really true. I think what you mentioned, time, I think is really what people realize. Not just because we have a lot of time at home now, but the realization and something like this happens and for those who have lost loved ones, I think at this time parang it almost happened with a blink of an eye lang diba? So that's really so to end lang again, can you repeat what you said, Dana? Let your passion
let your passion drive you. No, let your purpose drive you and your values guide you. Pag mga ganitong panahon, madaling magdesisyon if you're very sure about your purpose and you're well-grounded and anchored on your values.
Nice.
Let your purpose drive you and your values guide you.
Nice.
Diba? Yun naman ang mahalaga Kasi ang daming mahirap na desisyon gagawin niyo. Huwag ka ma-pressure. Reach out to people who can help you make the decision. Because right now, yung mga decision ginagawa natin, you have to realize it's not just, we're all interconnected. We realize that now more than ever. And more importantly, your decisions will impact a lot of lives. Sabi mo nga, may mga namamatay. Hindi ito biro. May mga namamatay, may nagkakasakit. So, we have to be conscious about our decisions. Di ba yung mga di ba? Be responsible. I mean, the simple, like when you go out, wear a mask. Whether you like it or not, it's courtesy to others. It's not the time to think of only. Yeah, exactly. So yun yung magandang ngayon real. And I hope sana nga I mean, sana ma-sustain natin yung ganong caring for others, because that's the only way to go. para mabuhay tayo dito.
Nice. All right. On that note, thank you so much for your time, Rommel. Really, really appreciate you. Really appreciate your mentorship and the time that you take to check on me, check on other people, fellow entrepreneurs. I think your leadership has been really important during this time. It's a testament to the fact that a lot of people want to hear from you during this time. So thank you so much.
Salamat.
Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review the show on iTunes. It will help more people discover the show. You can also share a screen cap of the show on your social media accounts. Make sure to tag me and let me know which part of the episode you like or didn't like. All feedback is certainly welcome, so feel free to reach out to me on Instagram @KendrickCo to let me know what topics you'd like to be covered next and who you want to hear or learn from in future episodes. Until next time, do the work you want to see done, because life's too short to not be creating your life's work.